Hello everyone. Today we will talk about environmental scanning and industry analysis. Before an organization can formulate its strategy, it must conduct an environmental scan to identify potential opportunities and threats in the external environment, as well as assess its internal strengths and weaknesses. This comprehensive analysis is essential for understanding the landscape in which the organization operates and for making informed strategic decisions. Environmental scanning involves the continuous monitoring, evaluation, and dissemination of relevant information to key stakeholders within the organization. By effectively utilizing this tool, organizations can avoid strategic surprises and ensure their long-term health and sustainability. Research has shown a positive relationship between thorough environmental scanning and profitability, emphasizing its importance in strategic planning. A 2008 survey by McKinsey & Company found that approximately 70% of executives believe that global social, environmental, and business trends play an increasingly significant role in shaping corporate strategy. This underscores the necessity for organizations to integrate insights from environmental scanning into their strategic frameworks to remain competitive and responsive to changing conditions. Identifying external environmental variables. In environmental scanning, strategic managers must consider various variables within a corporation's natural, societal, and task environments. The natural environment encompasses physical resources, wildlife, and climate, forming an interconnected ecological system. The societal environment consists of broader social forces that, while not directly affecting short-term activities, influence long-term decisions. Key factors include economic forces, regulating the exchange of materials, money, energy, and information; technological forces, driving innovative problem-solving inventions; political legal forces, allocating power and establishing laws and regulations; socio-cultural forces, influencing societal values, customs, and norms. The task environment consists of elements that directly affect the corporation, including governments, suppliers, customers, and competitors. This environment is typically associated with the industry in which the firm operates. An industry analysis, popularized by Michael Porter, involves a detailed examination of key factors within this task environment. Historically, the natural environment was viewed as a resource to be exploited rather than conserved. Resources like arable land and fresh water were considered free for the taking, leading to externalities such as pollution being overlooked in business accounting. However, as these externalities gained recognition, governments enacted regulations to address them. The concept of sustainability emphasizes that a firm's long-term success relies on its relationship with both the economic system and the natural ecosystem. Companies must now account for previously taken for granted resources like clean air and fresh water, especially in light of global warming, which introduces uncertainty in environmental factors. Organizations are encouraged to measure and reduce their carbon footprints and to consider the environmental impact of their activities in strategic decision-making. Research indicates that scanning for environmental issues can enhance firm performance by identifying opportunities for environmentally friendly products and processes. Strategic managers must recognize the diverse variables in the societal environment, which vary significantly across countries. Each nation has its own unique societal forces, influencing perceptions of business roles. For instance, While Korea and China view business as a contributor to national development, regions like Hong Kong and Taiwan prioritize profit-making for shareholders. Such differences can affect trade regulations and profit repatriation. To analyze these societal factors, many corporations utilize STEEP analysis, which examines socio-cultural, technological, economic, ecological, and political legal forces. This analysis helps firms identify relevant trends that impact their operations, acknowledging that trends may hold greater significance for certain industries over others. Economic changes, such as rising interest rates, can directly influence consumer behavior and impact industries like home appliances. Similarly, the rapid development of BRIC countries Brazil, Russia, India, China significantly affects global markets, with China emerging as a major economic power and India becoming a hub for outsourcing services. Technological advancements also reshape industries, from improvements in microprocessors enhancing vehicle performance to the rise of digital media affecting traditional rental businesses. Innovations in fields like biotechnology and nanotechnology present new opportunities for companies. Political legal trends can determine competitive dynamics within industries, affecting growth strategies and operational locations. For example, stringent antitrust laws in the US may drive companies to diversify, while high taxation in Europe can push firms to relocate. Demographic trends, particularly in the socio-cultural realm, reveal significant shifts, such as an aging population in developed nations and increasing diversity in the workforce. Companies must adapt their marketing and product offerings to cater to these changing demographics, including the growing market for seniors. Internationally, societal environments differ markedly, requiring flexibility in corporate strategies. For instance, cultural norms in Germany and Islamic finance principles necessitate tailored approaches for multinational corporations. Understanding local economic, technological, political, legal, and socio-cultural variables is crucial for identifying opportunities and threats in foreign markets. Scanning the task environment involves analyzing relevant elements that directly impact a corporation. This process typically produces individual reports from various departments within the organization. For example, at Procter & Gamble P&G, brand and management teams collaborate with sales and market research to create quarterly competitive activity reports for each product category. Additionally, the purchasing department generates reports on developments in supply industries. These reports are summarized and communicated to top management, who use the insights for strategic decision-making. If a significant development is identified in a specific product category, management may request further monitoring of related areas. Ultimately, the collective findings from these scanning efforts provide a comprehensive list of external strategic factors that influence the company's operations. Researchers at George Washington University have identified several technological breakthroughs that are significantly reshaping various industries. Portable information devices and electronic networking. These compact, mobile devices integrate computing power, internet connectivity, and communication functions, revolutionizing how people work, communicate, and access information. Alternative energy sources. Technologies such as solar, wind, geothermal, hydro, and biomass are emerging as sustainable alternatives to fossil fuels. As costs decrease and efficiency improves, these sources are transforming energy generation and reducing reliance on petroleum. Precision farming. Utilizing computer systems, GPS, and data analysis, precision farming optimizes crop management based on soil conditions and resource availability. This leads to increased yields, lower costs, and minimized environmental impact. Virtual personal assistants. Advanced software programs can manage communications and perform routine tasks, acting as digital secretaries. This enhances efficiency and productivity in various settings. Genetically altered organisms. Biotechnology advancements enable the genetic modification of plants and animals, resulting in crops with higher yields and better nutrition, as well as potential applications in eliminating genetic diseases in humans. Smart, mobile robots. Enhanced sensors and artificial intelligence are allowing robots to perform complex tasks in factories, households, and healthcare, expanding automation capabilities across multiple industries. This slide presents categories of risk that organizations face in different aspects of their operations. Each category highlights a specific type of threat that can impact performance, sustainability, and reputation. Regulatory risk arises from changes in laws, regulations, or compliance requirements. For example, stricter environmental laws or labor regulations may increase costs or limit operations. Supply chain risk involves disruptions in the flow of goods and services, such as delays from suppliers, shortages of raw materials, transportation issues, or geopolitical tensions affecting global trade. Product and technology risk relates to failures in product design, manufacturing defects, or technology becoming outdated. It also includes risks from cyberattacks or system breakdowns. Litigation risk. The potential for legal action against the organization due to disputes, breaches of contract, employee claims, or liability issues. Litigation can lead to financial losses and damage to reputation. Reputational risk refers to damage to the company's image or public perception. Negative publicity, scandals, or poor customer service can erode trust and harm relationships with stakeholders. Physical risk involves threats to physical assets and people, such as natural disasters, accidents, fires, or workplace safety hazards. These risks can disrupt operations and cause direct financial and human losses. The foundation of competitive advantage lies in a company's ability to anticipate and adapt to environmental changes ahead of its competitors. However, not all companies are equally adept at this. A key factor influencing adaptability is the ability of managers to recognize and understand external strategic issues. A global survey revealed that many corporate strategists have been caught off guard by significant events, with a majority lacking an early warning system. Firms cannot monitor every external factor. They must prioritize which factors are crucial. Despite recognizing the importance of strategic variables, managers may overlook or ignore critical developments due to biases stemming from personal values, functional experiences, or the success of current strategies. This phenomenon, known as strategic myopia, can hinder a company's ability to gather relevant information needed for strategic adjustments. To systematically identify and analyze external developments, organizations can use an issues priority matrix. This process involves identifying emerging trends in the natural, societal, and task environments, termed strategic environmental issues. Assessing the likelihood of these trends occurring low, medium, or high probability. Evaluating the potential impact of each trend on the organization also rated low to high. Trends that have a medium to high probability of occurrence and impact become key external strategic factors. The matrix helps managers distinguish between trends to be scanned low priority and those that should be closely monitored high priority. Ultimately, these identified trends are categorized as opportunities or threats and incorporated into the strategic planning process. An industry consists of firms that produce similar products or services, such as soft drinks or financial services. An essential part of industry analysis involves examining key stakeholder groups, including suppliers and customers. Michael Porter emphasizes that a corporation's primary concern is the intensity of competition within its industry, which is influenced by several competitive forces. Porter identifies 5 main forces that determine industry profitability: threat of new entrants, the likelihood of new companies entering the market, rivalry among existing firms, the competition level between current players, threat of substitute products or services, the risk of customers switching to alternative offerings, bargaining power of buyers, the influence customers have on pricing and terms, bargaining power of suppliers, the control suppliers exert over prices and availability. A 6th force, other stakeholders, is included to account for the influence of governments and local communities. Each force's strength can limit a company's ability to raise prices and earn profits. Strong forces act as threats, while weak forces present opportunities. Strategists can evaluate these forces by rating them as high, medium, or low in strength. For example, in the global athletic shoe industry, rivalry is high due to strong competitors, while the threat of new entrants and substitutes is low. Bargaining power of suppliers is medium but rising, and buyers' power is medium but increasing as well. The influence of other stakeholders is medium to high due to growing regulations. The competitive intensity in the athletic shoe industry remains high, suggesting that sales growth and profit margins will be modest. Companies may, through strategic choices, alter the strength of these forces to their advantage over time. Threat of new entrants. The threat of new entrants in an industry comes from companies looking to establish themselves, bringing new capacity, a desire for market share, and significant resources. This threat varies based on the presence of entry barriers, obstacles that make it challenging for new firms to enter an industry. Entry barriers can include high capital requirements. Significant investment is needed for production facilities and distribution networks, as seen in the U.S. automobile industry, where no new domestic companies have emerged since the 1930s. Established distribution networks. Existing companies often have well-developed dealer networks that new entrants would struggle to replicate. The reaction from current competitors also influences the threat of entry. If established firms are likely to respond aggressively to new entrants, this can further deter new companies from entering the industry. Okay, now barriers to entry. Several barriers can hinder new entrants from successfully entering an industry. Economies of scale. Established companies, like Intel in the microprocessor market, benefit from lower costs per unit due to large-scale production, making it hard for new rivals to compete. Product differentiation. Firms such as Procter & Gamble and General Mills create high entry barriers through strong branding and extensive advertising, making their products unique and desirable. Capital requirements. Industries with high capital needs, such as commercial aviation, pose significant entry challenges. For example, the substantial investment needed to compete with Boeing and Airbus deters new entrants. Switching costs. Established software programs like Microsoft Excel or Word create reluctance among users to switch to alternatives due to high training and transition costs. Access to distribution channels. New entrepreneurs often struggle to gain supermarket shelf space, as established firms have the resources to pay for advertising and secure prime locations. Cost disadvantages independent of size. Once a product becomes widely accepted as a standard, its maker gains a significant competitive edge. For instance, Microsoft's early dominance with MS-DOS and Windows solidified its market advantage. Government policy. Regulatory measures, such as licensing requirements and restrictions on access to raw materials, can limit industry entry. For example, oil drilling in protected areas is often highly regulated. Rivalry among existing firms. In many industries, companies are interdependent, meaning that competitive actions taken by one firm can significantly impact others, often leading to retaliation. For example, the entry of mail-order companies like Dell and Gateway into the PC market intensified competition, prompting established firms to quickly match pricing and product moves. Several factors influence the intensity of rivalry among existing firms. Number of competitors. When there are few competitors of similar size, as in the auto and major home appliance industries, firms closely monitor each other to ensure they respond appropriately to competitive moves. Rate of industry growth. A slowdown in growth, such as in the airline industry, can trigger price wars as companies seek to capture each other's market share. Product or service characteristics. Unique products may foster less rivalry, while commodities, like gasoline, lead to competition primarily based on price and location. Amount of fixed costs. Industries with high fixed costs, like airlines, may offer discounted fares to fill seats, increasing competitive pressure. Capacity. If expanding capacity requires significant investment, as in the paper industry, firms may produce at full capacity, driving prices down. Height of exit barriers. High exit barriers, such as those in the brewing industry, can prevent companies from leaving, maintaining competitive pressure. Diversity of rivals. Firms with differing competitive strategies may frequently clash, especially in saturated markets like retail, leading to unintended competition. This is also seen in global markets where multinational corporations vie for dominance. Threat of substitute products or services. A substitute product is an alternative that fulfills the same need as another product, despite differences in appearance. Examples include email as a substitute for fax machines, NutraSweet as a substitute for sugar, the internet as a substitute for video rental stores, bottled water as a substitute for cola. According to Porter, substitutes can limit industry profitability by imposing a price ceiling. If switching costs are low, substitutes can significantly impact an industry. For instance, if coffee prices rise too high, consumers may switch to tea, which effectively sets a price limit on coffee. Identifying substitutes involves examining products or services that serve the same function, even if they don't seem directly comparable. This process can be complex, as substitutes may not always be obvious. Bargaining power of buyers. Buyers can significantly influence an industry by pushing for lower prices, demanding higher quality or services, and leveraging competition among suppliers. Buyer power is stronger under certain conditions. Large purchases. When a buyer accounts for a significant portion of a seller's sales, such as major auto manufacturers buying oil filters. Backward integration. If buyers can feasibly produce the product themselves, like a newspaper chain making its own paper. Availability of alternatives. When many suppliers exist for a standard product, such as gasoline, buyers can easily switch. Low switching costs. If changing suppliers is inexpensive, like with office supplies. High cost proportion. When a product represents a large percentage of a buyer's costs, such as gasoline for convenience stores, buyers are incentivized to seek better prices. Low profit margins. Buyers with slim profits, like grocery stores, are sensitive to cost differences. Unimportant products. If the purchased product does not significantly affect the quality or price of the buyer's offerings, it can be easily substituted, as with electric wire for lamps. Bargaining power of suppliers. Suppliers can influence an industry by increasing prices or lowering the quality of their goods and services. Supplier power is heightened under certain conditions. Concentration of suppliers. When a few companies dominate the supplier industry while serving many customers, such as in the petroleum sector. Unique products or high switching costs. If a supplier offers a unique product or has established high switching costs, like specialized word processing software. Lack of substitutes. When alternatives are not readily available, as with electricity. Forward integration. If suppliers can move into direct competition with their customers, such as a microprocessor manufacturer like Intel entering the PC market. Low importance to suppliers. When a purchasing industry represents a small portion of the supplier's sales, making it less significant, as seen with lawn mower tires compared to auto tires. Relative power of other stakeholders. A sixth force should be added to Porter's framework to encompass various stakeholder groups from the task environment, including governments, influencing regulations and policies, local communities, affecting public perception and acceptance, creditors, impacting financial stability, trade associations, shaping industry standards and practices. Special interest groups, advocating for specific causes, unions, affecting labor relations and costs, shareholders, influencing corporate governance and priorities, complementers, companies whose products enhance the value of another's, such as Microsoft for Intel. The significance of these stakeholders varies by industry. For example, environmental groups have successfully pushed for legislation against disposable bottles, raising costs for producers, especially marginal ones. In contrast, the influence of national unions is strong in industries like automotive and rail, but less relevant in sectors like computer software. Key international stakeholders, such as the World Trade Organization and regional trade agreements like EU, NAFTA, also play crucial roles in setting trade regulations and standards. Industry evolution. Industries typically evolve through stages: growth, maturity, and decline. The strength of the six competitive forces varies at each stage, and understanding the industry life cycle helps explain and predict trends in competition. Growth stage. In the early phase, products often meet unique needs, leading to high demand regardless of price. The industry is usually fragmented, with many small firms competing. As new competitors enter, prices decrease due to increased competition. Companies leverage the experience curve and economies of scale to lower costs, often integrating vertically by acquiring suppliers and distributors. Maturity stage. As the industry matures, products tend to become commodities. It consolidates, dominated by a few large firms that struggle to differentiate their offerings. Buyers become more informed, leading to price sensitivity and declining profit margins. Industries like automobiles, petroleum, and major home appliances exemplify this stage, where a few companies control a significant market share. Decline stage. The growth rate of sales slows or declines, prompting firms to adapt by repurposing facilities or exiting the market if exit barriers are low. The industry consolidates further, with fewer but larger competitors remaining. The tobacco industry is a current example of an industry in decline. Categorizing international industries. Multi-domestic versus global industries. According to Porter, industries exist on a continuum from multi-domestic to global. Multi-domestic industries. These industries operate as distinct entities within each country or region, tailoring products and services to local needs. Multinational corporations (MNCs) have independent subsidiaries in different countries, each with manufacturing facilities for local markets. Examples include retail and insurance. Global industries. In contrast, global industries function worldwide with minimal adjustments for local conditions. MNCs coordinate activities across countries, producing and selling products globally. Industries like commercial aircraft, automobiles, and semiconductors are examples, with major global corporations dominating in terms of sales revenue. The classification of an industry as primarily multi-domestic or global depends on two main pressures. Pressure for coordination. Strong coordination needs within MNCs push industries toward a global model. Pressure for local responsiveness. When local market needs are significant, industries lean toward a multi-domestic approach. Industries that exhibit characteristics of both are termed regional industries, where coordination occurs primarily within regions, such as the Americas or Asia. The major home appliance industry is transitioning from regional to global, with Japanese firms excelling in Asia but less prominent in Europe and North America. The dynamic balance between global coordination and local responsiveness is often summarized by the phrase, "Think globally but act locally." Firms often establish information networks and systems to evaluate investment risks. Smaller companies may seek external consultants for political risk assessments. Various systems exist to gauge political and economic risks, including Business Environment Risk Index, Economist Intelligence Unit, Frost & Sullivan's World Political Risk Forecasts. The Economist Intelligence Unit, for instance, offers ongoing analysis and forecasts for over 200 countries and key industries. Ultimately, organizations must develop their own risk assessment methods, identifying key risk factors and assigning appropriate weights to each. Strategic groups. A strategic group consists of business units or firms within an industry that pursue similar strategies and utilize comparable resources. Categorizing firms into strategic groups helps in understanding the competitive landscape, revealing that some groups are more profitable than others. Similarities within groups. Firms in the same strategic group are often strong rivals, sharing similar structures, cultures, and strategies. For example, While McDonald's and Olive Garden operate within the restaurant industry, they belong to different strategic groups due to their distinct missions and strategies. In contrast, Burger King and Hardee's closely align with McDonald's strategy of offering low-priced meals for families, making them strong competitors. Mapping strategic groups. To visualize strategic groups, firms can be plotted on a two-dimensional graph using two differentiating characteristics like price and menu. The process involves selecting two broad characteristics that differentiate firms, plotting the companies based on these dimensions, drawing circles around firms that are closely related, with circle sizes reflecting their market share. Choosing dimensions. Additional dimensions like quality, service, or location can be used in further analyses, ensuring that the two characteristics selected are not highly correlated to provide meaningful insights. This approach helps identify competitive dynamics and strategic positioning within an industry. Strategic types. In analyzing competitive intensity within an industry or strategic group, firms can be categorized into distinct strategic types based on their common orientations, structures, cultures, and processes. According to Miles and Snow, these categories help explain why companies facing similar situations behave differently and maintain these behaviors over time. The four basic strategic types are defenders, prospectors, analyzers, and reactors. Defenders are characterized by a limited product line and a focus on improving operational efficiency. They prioritize cost control and are generally resistant to innovation in new areas. An example of a defender is Lincoln Electric, which emphasizes efficiency in its operations. Prospectors, on the other hand, have broader product lines and concentrate on product innovation and exploring market opportunities. While they may be less efficient due to their focus on creativity, companies like Rubbermaid exemplify this strategic type through their consistent emphasis on new product development. Analyzers operate in at least two different product market areas, balancing stability and innovation. They emphasize efficiency in stable markets while fostering innovation in more dynamic sectors. Multi-divisional firms such as IBM and Procter & Gamble are typical examples of analyzers, as they navigate multiple industries effectively. Lastly, reactors lack a coherent strategy and often respond to environmental pressures with inconsistent and piecemeal changes. This category includes many major U.S. airlines, which have struggled to adapt effectively to new competitive challenges. By classifying competitors into these strategic types, managers can better monitor strategic effectiveness and anticipate future industry developments. Hypercompetition. Today, many industries are experiencing heightened levels of environmental uncertainty, becoming more complex and dynamic. Traditionally, multi-domestic industries are transitioning into global markets, where new, agile competitors are rapidly entering established sectors and diminishing the advantages once held by dominant firms. Distribution channels are evolving constantly due to advanced information systems, and companies are forming closer relationships with suppliers to cut costs, enhance quality, and access new technologies. Richard Devaney describes this escalating competition as hypercompetition, characterized by the frequent and bold movements of market players that create a state of constant change and instability. In hypercompetitive environments, market stability is disrupted by short product life cycles, rapid design cycles, emerging technologies, and unexpected entrants. Incumbent companies frequently reposition themselves, and the boundaries of markets are redefined as industries converge. In hyper-competitive sectors like the computer industry, maintaining a competitive advantage relies on staying informed about environmental trends and competitor activities. Companies must be prepared to risk existing advantages for the potential of new ones, often going so far as to cannibalize their own successful products before competitors can. This approach is essential for sustaining a competitive edge in such a turbulent landscape, as exemplified by Microsoft's strategies in the hyper-competitive software market. Using key success factors to create an industry matrix. In any industry, certain key success factors are critical for a company's success. These factors significantly influence competitive positions and vary from one industry to another. They are shaped by the economic and technological characteristics of the industry and the strategic approaches firms adopt. For example, in the major home appliance industry, success hinges on achieving low costs through large manufacturing facilities, establishing a strong presence in mass retail channels, and maintaining high standards in reliability and durability through effective research and development. An industry matrix serves to summarize these key success factors. It assigns weights to each factor based on its importance for success and evaluates how well various competitors respond to these factors. To create an industry matrix for two competitors, follow these steps. List key success factors. Identify 8 to 10 factors critical to success in the industry. Assign weights. Rate each factor from 1.0 most important to 0.0 not important, ensuring all weights sum to 1.0. Rate competitor A. For the first company, assign ratings from 5 outstanding to 1 poor based on its performance against each key factor. Calculate weighted score for A. Multiply the weight of each factor by its rating to get company A's weighted scores. Rate competitor B. Repeat the rating process for the second company using the same scale. Calculate weighted score for B. Similarly, compute the weighted scores for company B. Total weighted scores. Sum the weighted scores for both companies to assess their overall performance against the key success factors. This matrix can be expanded to include more competitors by adding additional columns. The total weighted scores provide insights into each company's ability to address current and future challenges in the industry, with an average score of 3 indicating satisfactory performance. External environmental scanning is often conducted informally by individuals within companies, drawing information from a variety of sources such as suppliers, customers, industry publications, and conferences. For example, R&D staff may gain insights on competitor innovations at professional meetings, while purchasing teams can learn valuable information from supplier interactions. Notably, a significant proportion of product innovations in fields like scientific instruments and semiconductors are initiated by customer feedback, highlighting the importance of responsiveness from sales and service departments. A MC Kinsey and Company survey identified improved competitor capabilities as a key factor in rising competitive intensity. Without effective competitive intelligence, companies risk being unprepared, often learning about competitor changes too late to respond effectively. Competitive intelligence, a formal program for gathering information on competitors, is increasingly recognized as essential for strategic management. It is linked to better corporate performance, with primary goals including industry awareness, strategic planning support, and product development. Many corporations utilize external organizations for competitive intelligence, sourcing information on market conditions, regulations, and competitor activities from firms like EC Nielsen Co. and MarketResearch.com. The Internet has transformed data collection, providing rapid access to information, though it also poses challenges due to misinformation and lack of quality control. Some organizations engage in unethical practices like industrial espionage to gain competitive insights, leading to significant financial losses from trade secret theft. To combat such issues, the U.S. government enacted the Economic Espionage Act, making it illegal to steal proprietary information. Ethical standards in competitive intelligence are promoted by organizations like the Society of Competitive Intelligence Professionals, emphasizing that much valuable information is publicly available through legitimate channels. However, some firms may resort to dubious practices, undermining ethical standards in their pursuit of competitive knowledge.
Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to channel.